You can't see. Who's this?
Hey, I'm a red-nosed reindeer. I'm a red-nosed reindeer.
You are. I'm right now making sure everything sounds good. 1, 2, 3. All right, Zeke. I have a special guest. He's usually at preschool, but today he had a dentist appointment, and this is what you picked out, right?
Yes, I'm a red-nosed reindeer. I'm a red-nosed reindeer.
Man, you're gonna be famous someday. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Fist bump. All righty. Yeah, they have to go pick up lots of kids, but I wanted to bring him on really quick, just so everyone could see him. So this is going to be an interesting broadcast. Just wanted to bring with rates where they've gone recently. I had to do something and talk about the impact of mortgage rates on the housing market. We've already seen a major impact on the housing market, but I wanted to bring it home so everybody understood exactly why things are happening the way that they're happening. So let's go ahead and dig right on into it. And here we go. All righty. So I'm asking everybody to go to youtube.com/reports on housing. So look for reports on housing on YouTube. Smash that like button. Subscribe to our channel. We just want to get as many people onto the channel as possible. That helps with the YouTube algorithm so that we can broadcast out to more and more people so that they really get the true skinny on exactly what's going on in the real estate market, so they can make proper decisions for their families and all based upon facts, data, and stats and all that good stuff. So, of course, the impact of rising rates. And the Federal Reserve, I talked about it last week. They're all about causing as much pain as possible. And they're going at it where beginning of the year, we saw a significant change at the very start of the year as to their big giant change from transitory to, okay, we're going to be doing a lot, to, okay, we're going to be doing everything we possibly can. And then along came March, and they were trying to get control of inflation. But every single time they talked, they became more and more hawkish, which means they were going to do more and more. And when things weren't happening quite the way they wanted to in August, with interest rates coming down and and Wall Street starting to go up, that is not what they wanted. They want to see an impact on the housing market. They want to see impact on Wall Street. They want to see an impact on the job front, with unemployment rising and job openings falling and consumers spending less. This is really what they're trying to do. They came out at the end of August with their guns blazing, and ever since then they've been talking about everything that they're going to do in their power to slow things down. And it's really caused ripple effects throughout not only our housing market, but economies around the world. It's created a very, very strong dollar. That is a problem internationally, and has caused a lot of pain internationally as well. So there is a giant ripple effect as to what they are doing presently. And we've had interest rates that have gone from 3.25% to this week. On Tuesday, we hit 7.08%. Of course, it went down since then, but we've gone from 3 to 7.08%. Now, this is more than doubling in interest rate, but that doesn't mean that payments have doubled. It does mean that it's gone up substantially, though. I do want everybody to understand that. When they see it go from 3.25 to 5.5 or 6.5, that is a doubling of rate, but it is definitely not a doubling in payment. I just had to make that absolutely clear. And this is what's happened to the 10-year Treasury. So at the very beginning of the year, when the Fed started announcing everything that they were going to do, and then the Wall Street Journal led off with an article the very first Monday of the new year. And ever since then, we've seen the 10-year Treasury go up. Of course, there have been times where it slowed, peaked in June, then came down, but then went back up. And then most recently hit another peak in the highest level of the year on Tuesday. And it was the highest level in an extremely long time for 10-year Treasuries. So you can actually put your money into 10-year Treasuries and you get a decent interest rate, which is this is all about. It's all about forcing you to do things that are different, maybe saving rather than trying to speculate in Wall Street and stock market and all that stuff. And there's going to be a point where you're going to see more people flood to this long-term stuff, but it's not yet. And as a matter of fact, we started off the year at 1.51% for the 10-year Treasury. During COVID, we've never been this low, but we got below 1%, and we were there for a little while. And started off this year at 1.51% and on Tuesday hit 3.96%. So it went actually overnight above 4% for a minute, but then came back down. This is really high compared to where we were. And the appetite for 10-year treasuries is very similar appetite for 30-year mortgages, which is why we talk about 10-year treasuries when we're talking about mortgages. So you just understand the underlying factors in it are investors don't want to participate as much as they did before because of the current climate and what the Federal Reserve is doing, all the different things that they're doing, no longer buying mortgage-backed securities. As a matter of fact, draining off their balance sheet. They're ratcheting up the short-term rate. They've done everything in their power. Interest rates, as a result, have also gone up considerably from the very beginning of the year. And we've gone from the very beginning of the year at 3.25% to 7.08% today. Or actually, that was earlier on Tuesday. Now, and by the way, I said that really quick. So we're at 6.82% today. The last time we were here was June of 2006. And there's a lot of people that say, hey, yeah, well, I remember when interest rates were even higher. In the year 2000, I had an interest rate at 8%. Or in 1995, I had an interest rate at 9%. Or back in 1990, I had a 10% interest rate. These rates aren't that far off from there. It's been higher that I've had. But I want to point out something. You can't compare apples to apples on just interest rates because there's more that goes into affordability than just mortgage rates. It's mortgage rates, it's where home prices are today, and it's everybody's income levels. So that's the household income levels. And as a matter of fact, we'll get into the other. So the year 2000, the rates were at 8%. And home prices back then for SoCal were at $250,000 income. The median household income was $45,000. Now, I've done this over time. I've gone all the way back to 1980, and I've done every single year to see their payments at $1,468. Where is the percentage of monthly income, the payment as a percentage of monthly income? And back then, it was at 39%. Now, you flash forward to today, and you're at a 6.82% interest rate, a little bit lower than where we were in 2000. But home values for all of SoCal are, for a median detached home, because that's what I'm comparing these to, $795,000. The income level is $84,000. So yes, incomes have gone up, but home prices have gone up even more. And payments are $4,155. The payment as a percentage of the monthly income, so your monthly income that you're getting, how much is your payment? 59%. And that is not, there are other markets where it is even more of a stretch. Like Orange County, for example, has a 72% percentage of the monthly income. That's the payment as a percentage of monthly income. That's pretty darned high. So 59% for all of SoCal. You see the difference. You can't compare one to the other. Yes, interest rates were higher, but home values are a lot higher as well. Incomes haven't kept up with home values. Rates have been on the rise all year long, and rising rates diminishes purchasing power. And I'll show it to you here. The $4,000 desired monthly payment at 3.25% at the very beginning of the year, you could afford a home with 10% down of $1,021,111,000. And then I'm going to do this for $4,000. Then I'm going to do it for $2,500 because we've got, this is broadcasted all over Southern California, but you get it. So some people have to look at $4,000 per month, but other people are looking at $2,500 per month. But at 3.25%, you're looking at a little over $1 million. When it got up to 7% on Tuesday, you could see you can only purchase a about $668,000 house versus 1,021,000 at the beginning of the year. That is an erosion of the purchase power. And if you remember in August, we got all the way down to 5%. That's why there was an increase in demand, because we were at 6%, but then we got down to 5%. And now all of a sudden you can afford an $827,000 or about an $828,000 house. So you see, as interest rates go up, purchasing power diminishes. As they go down, purchasing power increases. And this is for that $2,500 per month desired monthly mortgage payment at 3.25%. At the very beginning of the year, you were looking at 10% down, about a $638,000 house. On Tuesday, you're now looking at a $418,000 house. What an erosion. In August, when they came down to 5%, now you're looking at a little bit more. You're looking at 518,000, but you just lost $100,000 in purchasing power from the a couple times in August when we got down to 5% to where we were on Tuesday. And this also just shows you mortgage payment on $1 million loan. So let's say you have $1 million loan, and that's what you're looking at. Your payment was $4,352 at 3.25%. At 7%, that $1 million loan is $6,653. And you're wondering, $1 million loan, that's jumbo. With the new lending limits, it is going to jump up above $1 million for Orange County, for Los Angeles, and San Diego is going to be awfully close. So you get the picture. That this is for those higher end coastal counties, but you can see that they're definitely, your payments go up. Of course, with interest rates as they go up, and you can see what that means. With a 7% interest rate, you're looking at spending almost $28,000 more per year compared to the very beginning of the year. That's just from January to where we are today at the end of September. So this is an erosion of your wallet. Basically, you're definitely seeing a more go out for the same exact loan or the same exact loan amount. So when interest rates go up, it definitely it costs a lot more to get a loan on these properties. And a mortgage loan payment on a $650,000 loan with 10% down. At the beginning of the year, you were looking at $2,829 per month, and at 7%, you're looking at $4,324. This is a difference of $18,000 per year, which is pretty significant, because in the San Bernardino and Inland Empire, and also when you get inland in San Diego and when you get inland in Los Angeles, some of those median incomes go down a little bit. So it's more of the monthly payment is being devoted to exhausting the monthly loan amount. So you can see that these higher interest rates are definitely having an impact on payments and on affordability. And gone now, you don't see this at all. It just doesn't exist anymore. That very hot, frothy market that we were all experiencing for 2 years is absolutely gone. Instead, with these higher rates, everything has slowed down considerably, and we have very, very low demand. The low demand, as a matter of fact, demand even diminished more. We hit kind of like this cruising altitude, and it's come down a little bit. And it's come down a little bit because we've seen interest rates over the last several weeks continue to climb all the way up to where we were earlier this week at 7%. That is definitely having an impact on the number of properties that have gone into escrow when I snap it over the last 30 days. And I've heard anecdotal stories of some people that have backed out of escrow, that kind of thing. Buyers, when they're not getting what they're having inspections, and sellers still think that they don't have to do anything because this is like the last 2 years. Well, I'm not going to do anything. Well, I've heard of people that have backed out because of that. That's just foolishness in this market. You definitely have to go back to negotiating. It's not the sellers that are in control. It is more of a balancing act. Today, we're at 11,236, a drop of 7%. In the last 2-week period of time. And know that these sky high rates that we're experiencing are really putting pressure on demand. And because we've reached that cruising altitude of, like this inherent demand, but as interest rates go up, there are even more people that peel out of the market, more potential buyers. As a matter of fact, in the last 2 weeks, it was the largest drop since the start of July. Last year, we were 18,150 at this time. That was 62% higher than where we are today, which is a lot more escrows. And 3-year average is 14,840. That's 32% higher. So definitely more pending activity last year, and also the 3-year average prior to COVID, 2017, 18 to 19. Now, I'd like to really quickly talk about our sponsor, that the Thibodeau Morel Group, Jason Thibodeau with JMJ Financial. You can reach him at 714-330-8263. And they have the earnest money deposit insurance program, that the homebuyer EMD protection, where you put up some money up front, and you are guaranteed to get your money back. There's of course, if you fund the loan and you close in the transaction, that is refundable. So that upfront fee. And they also have a lock and shop mortgage. As you could see, when interest rates got down to 5%, it might have been a good time to lock and shop. This is where it really it goes into giving you a little bit of relief in a market that is so volatile. So when you see rates that drop, you might want to lock them. They have a program for that as well. They also have 2-1 buy down mortgages. This is also avoid larger than desired price reductions. Sellers can advertise, and they can work with buyers and actually do 2-1 buy downs so that they can bring down the buyer's mortgage rate. So they have that program as well. Their methodology is simple. We don't make promises we can't keep. So please contact Jason Thibodeau at JMJ Financial, 714-330-8263. That's 714-330-8263. Thanks again, Jason, with JMJ Financial, for your continued support. Now, inventories, when we have these interest rates that rise, inventories rise as well with them. But we're still dealing with a supply crisis. So we're coming down off of some record low rates across the United States. We had a record low number of homes in March. We had a record number of homes in the counties of Orange County, Los Angeles County, and San Diego counties at the beginning of this year. And since then, the inventory has really grown. It grew from about April. It's only slightly going up, but as interest rates went up higher and higher, they went up from April all the way until we hit about mid-July, and then something happened. But know that what's pulling them up are those sky-high rates. Those sky-high rates are definitely putting pressure on demand, which has allowed more the homeowners that are coming on, where they're languishing a little bit longer, aren't selling as quickly, and they accumulate over time. And today we're at 30,296. That was actually down 14 homes in a 2-week period of time. So you could see really flatlined. We were coming down, but it flatlined. Last year we were at 19,517, which is 36% less. The 3-year average is 40,934. That is way up there over by that purple line. That is 35% higher than where we are today. And know that there were a lot of overpriced listings. It could have been the poor location where they could have got it for 2 years, but then all of a sudden they did not get their price, because now it all comes down to you really have to lock in the right price. You just can't speculate when there's nothing on the market. People were stretching their asking prices and they were getting them. There's a lot of people that were actually coming on the market and then would adjust their prices even higher and would still ultimately sell. That has resulted in properties that are dogs, or properties in poor locations, or just people that were overzealous. They were a lot of overpriced listings. They need to base everything on their neighborhood, on the condition, on the age of the home, on the market. The overall appeal. And you can definitely see that there was a lot of overpriced people across the United States. All homes that are on the market right now, 41.2% have reduced their asking price at least once. That is very, very similar to where the rest of SoCal is. It goes anywhere from about 38 in LA County up to about 45% in San Bernardino. And it's everywhere in between for all the other counties. So they're right in there. There's more price reductions than there typically are prior to COVID, but it's not that much more. It's just slightly more, and that's because of the market transition from a way over hot, overzealous, incredibly nutty, crazy market to where we are today. And the inventory. Typically, when we have rates go up, because I showed this before, in 2013, we had interest rates go up. That's the dotted green line. And you had the interest rates, the inventory go up in all of Southern California. That's the solid green line. The same thing happened this year with interest rates going up even higher. That's the dotted yellow line for this year. Yet something happened to the inventory line. We should have peaked. And this is typically where it peaks based upon many other years when you have rising interest rates. When the same number of people come on the market, they accumulate on the market and they don't pull their homes off the market until around October, right before the holidays, or Thanksgiving, right at the holidays. A lot of people come off the market. But that wasn't the case this year. As a matter of fact, you could see how it kind of peaked up in August and has peaked. It was coming down because we had interest rates that went all the way down to 5%, which fueled a little bit more demand, and it caused the inventory to be eaten, the few homes that were on the market. But then interest rates started to really rise. So it stopped falling and now has plateaued. But still, it's not increasing. Something is going on. Even though we have these extra high interest rates, these interest rates going from 3.25% to almost 7% or 7% on Tuesday really have changed the overall marketplace. But it's changed in a profound way because that new trend that emerged of fewer homes coming on the market compared to prior to COVID. We had a problem in 2020 when COVID started and in 2021, but 2022 has become even a bigger problem, and the problem grew recently as in August. I'm really interested to see what happens in September. We'll see that at the beginning of next week when we do our analysis of the number of homes that came on the market compared to averages for September over the years. But I imagine it's going to continue to be muted. As a matter of fact, John Burns, they have with their new homes, the New Home Trends Institute, they have found that the current homeowners' existing mortgage rates versus maximum rates willing to take on for future home purchases, these people, when they have interest rates that are much lower than where they are today, at 7% or more, there's only 7% of the existing homeowner market that is even willing to transact. More and more, as interest rates go down, and you can see in the middle, more and more people are willing to transact because, if we had interest rates even from 4 to 5%, it would open up more people willing to sell their homes. What the problem is now that interest rates are so far over to the right and they're so high that it is precluding many homeowners from placing their homes on the market because it is so costly to make a move with their new payment. So they might not necessarily be in love with their home. They are definitely in love with their loan. And this is what we've referred to as hunkering down. I wrote a report about it. We're definitely seeing it in all markets, and people are just staying in place. And this is the new story. It's going to be interesting to see how many people really come on the spring, but I'm betting that if interest rates remain elevated and we don't see interest rates come down a little bit, that we are going to experience more homeowners continuing to hunker down. So what is this overall speed of the market? The it's elevated a little bit and is right over here, right at about 80 days. It's actually spiked up towards, I think it's a little over 80 days. We'll see that in a second. I think it's 81. But if you draw a line across, we have been here before. As a matter of fact, during COVID, we got even higher for those first few weeks of COVID when we were locked down and people thought, oh, we can't do anything at all. Demand just absolutely plummeted, and there were more homes on the market, but that began to diminish as well. This was the end of 2018 when we had interest rates at 5%. there was an accumulation of homes on the market because the same number of people came on the market during the fall, and they accumulated, and they actually had to pull their homes off the market, cancel, withdraw, expire at the right around the holidays, and it really slowed down the market at that point because we had a lot of inventory and demand was diminishing really fast because of higher mortgage rates. Now is when interest rates were at 5%. We are much higher than that, yet we can't really get that high of an expected market time because we don't have enough homes still on the market. And Orange County shows it best. This is where Orange County was as of last Tuesday, and you can see here that for Orange County. So that's why I'm showing this to you right now. And then the Southern California expected market time, this is what it is year over year. And you can see recently it's gone up. It's now at 81 days. It went up 6 days in the last 2 weeks. It went up 3 days the 2 weeks prior. So it's actually gone up 9 days over the last 4 weeks. And you can see that elevation in that curve. And what that is the absorption of higher mortgage rates. It's not going to continue to skyrocket unless we see demand continue to go down and we see the same number of muted homeowners coming on the market. Then it can. But ultimately, what I think is we are adjusting to the higher mortgage rate environment where we are right now today, and we'll have to see where that is. It's the slowest since April of 2020 when we first went into COVID. You could see that in the middle. That's that green line. And the 3-year average prior to COVID is 84 days. So we're very close to the 3-year average prior to COVID. And it's kind of lining up where it's a slight seller's market. Anything below 90 is a slight seller's market. Between 90 and 120 is a balanced market. But there's something else going on. These sky high mortgage rates, these really high mortgage rates are like that anvil, and it creates a tremendous amount of pressure. And it has actually broken the supply and demand model that so many of us follow. And that is because they are so astronomically high that it's really created a different kind of marketplace that we're dealing with today. And it all boils down to how unaffordable homes are. So affordability is really the main factor here. And we're still duking it out with this very, very low supply of homes and this very, very low demand. And that's why we're not seeing, because you need to expect a market times in the 200 plus days or 400 plus days that everybody's thinking that it's going to behave like it did prior or during the Great Recession. That's just not what's going to happen because of the fact that there aren't enough homeowners that are participating or playing. They're very, very happy. They are have good jobs. They have good credit. Their payments, a lot of them refinance, and they're lower than when they first purchased their home. So they're sitting in a really good spot. And overall, we're seeing this tug of war between buyers and sellers. And buyers are definitely sticking their heels down, but there are some sellers too where you hear that they're really sticking their heels down too, and there's not enough of them. So it makes it a very, very exhausting marketplace. Buyers, the pool of potential buyers, all the fish out there have really shrunk down to where they are extremely cautious, and they are looking at every aspect of a home. They want to really zero in on what a home's real true value is. And as a result, we're seeing prices come down at a very, very slow pace because of that unaffordability and that anvil, of high mortgage rates. So what it's doing is it's slowly eating into prices. So, and you can see it in the Case-Shiller. Case-Shiller was at 20%. I think it was in April. And since then, this was July's just came out. We're at 15.8%. So it hit an all-time record earlier this year. Now it's down to 15.8% year over year. And then a couple of the local markets that they actually track are LA and San Diego. LA is down 1.9% in value over the last 2 months. And that is from May to July, and San Diego's down 2.9%. So they're both having a little bit of an erosion in prices. And a lot of that is that extra froth. They're definitely coming down from this. And I imagine it's probably even greater than this because this is just through the month of July. And the way Case-Shiller works, it's the 3 months up to that. It's 3 months total. So it's the months of May, June, and July. May was still a frothy month, and it has frothy comps in there, frothy sales. You have to pull it out. June was like halfway frothy. July, definitely no longer frothy, but you're not going to really see July, August, September until we get all the way until November, the end of November. So we're not going to really see. And I think by the time we get to that, we're going to see an erosion of at least 5% in San Diego, and down in LA, where it could be close to about 4%. And then what we're going to see most likely is by the end of this year, we're going to see an erosion of the froth that we had in this year in those markets in Southern California, especially along the coast. So all that extra that people paid, it's going to come back down to where we were at the beginning of the year. So that's where I think it's going to stand by the end of the year, which is creating everything that I'm kind of like talking about is this new normal. And it doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon. So it's lining up a very goofy 2023. And that's the best way to look at it. I used to have a slide of 20 of these triplets that looked like haunted, 2020, 2020, 2021, 2022. And I said, I hope there's not a quadruplet. There is. And it's this guy right here. It's going to be a goofy year next year. So stay tuned for that. Oops, I don't know why I don't take that out. But if you want a copy of this, please be a subscriber to the Housing Report. And you can go to reportsonhousing.com, click on subscribe. And we have reports that dot all over Southern California. I've dialed in, I think it's 6 out of the 9 Bay Area counties and I just have 3 more to do. And then we'll be able to launch it because we're putting all 9 together. And $15 per month or $150 per year, you get the first month free. And you'll get the most recent one, which is called Hunkering Down, the most recent one for all the counties. In Orange County, LA, San Diego will get a new one this coming up week. And use the coupon code. It says Fed22. I don't know why I did that. Well, you can still use Fed 2022. I will use that. I forgot to update the slide because you can also use RATES, RATES. So use the coupon code RATES or Fed 2022 and you'll get a free month. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I hope everybody has a fantastic finish to your week. Thank you for tuning in. And we will see you on the other side of this weekend. Enjoy your weekend.